Number 2, Jack Chick's Fanatic Fever Dreams. Jack Chick was a fundamentalist Baptist cartoonist whose tracks are probably the most widely published comic series in the world. He's published over 1 billion of these little things in over 100 languages. And all of them basically say that if you don't accept Chick's particular theology, then giant faceless Jesus will send you to hell. His most famous anti-Catholic tracts include the tastefully titled Death Cookie about the Eucharist, Why is Mary Crying, and Are Catholics Christians, where Chick claims Catholics are automatically citizens of the Holy See, which will be awesome because if you have a Vatican passport, you can visit over 150 countries without needing a visa. Of course, that's not true, and these passports are only granted to people like cardinals who reside in Vatican City and other diplomats. But the Chick conspiracies about Catholicism get even more ridiculous. In the 1980 discontinued tract, My Name in the Vatican, Chick claims that the name of every Protestant in the world was in the big computer in the Vatican. How did the Vatican get the name of, at the time, 500 million Protestants around the world, many of whom come from churches that no one's even heard of? Who knows? And the tract also says the Inquisition is alive and well after killing 68 million people throughout history for heresy, which is a higher death toll than the Black Plague, which wiped out 1/3 of Europe in the 14th century. The tract also says Adolf Hitler was an instrument of what is now called the Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith. And the Inquisition is on its way to do the same today to true Christians around the world once Catholicism gets global power. The rest of the tract is about an alleged ex-priest named Alberto Rivera, who is the source for most of these absurd claims. And it says that Rivera tried to expose this plot, but he can't because Catholics keep getting his book banned or getting him silenced. But in 1981, evangelical author Gary Metz published an expose in Christianity Today showing there is no evidence Rivera, aka Alberto Romero, was ever a priest, but there was evidence he was involved in financial fraud and other criminal dealings. Metz ends his article saying, Rivera, who now lives in California, was asked for an interview to discuss the discrepancies in his tale, but he posed so many restrictions before he would agree that a legitimate interview was not possible. He did say that any wrongdoings prior to his conversion to Christ in 1967 were done under the orders of the Catholic Church, and that any wrongdoings since his conversion are fabrications by conspirators.
What an odd thing to say.
Rivera also wrote the foreword to a 19th century conspiracy from an alleged former nun named Maria Monk called Awful Disclosures of Maria Monk, or The Hidden Secrets of a Nun's Life in a Convent Exposed. Monk claimed the sisters at a convent in Montreal were raped by priests in the seminary next door who accessed them through a secret tunnel under the convent. If a baby resulted, it was baptized and then strangled and dumped into a lime pit in the basement. Similar elements were borrowed for the Alberto comic strip published by Jack Chick, with the setting placed in Spain. However, scholars consider the book to be a hoax, and the non-religious debunker Joe Nickel writes the following about it in the Skeptical Inquirer. The fantastic assertions she made were investigated thoroughly at the time by Protestant clergymen, who were permitted to inspect the actual convent, discovering that its interior was incompatible with Monk's descriptions. Much additional debunking evidence followed. Nevertheless, the book saw many editions, and by the 1920s reportedly sold over 300,000 copies. Over 4 decades later, states Stein, it was still going strong. Copies like the one I found continue to lie in wait for unsuspecting readers. The Alberto comic strip also includes the claim that the Catholic Church sends girls like Agent Marie to seduce Protestant pastors, or even just make up false charges of adultery against them before moving on to the next target. Also in the comic, Rivera says the Catholic Church assigned him a beautiful girl to pose as his girlfriend named Carmen, when in reality, according to Metz, Rivera was living at one point with a woman in Costa Rica named Carmen Lydia Torres. He and Torres were married in 1963. Their son Juan was born in Hoboken, New Jersey in 1964, but died in El Paso in July 1965 after his parents had fled New Jersey, leaving numerous debts and a warrant for their arrest on bad check charges. This reminds me of Redditors and other people on the internet today who will say that Catholics are a bunch of PDF files and then promptly get arrested for possessing PDF file material. Or as the Bard would say, the lady doth protest too much. And number 3,